Hello, hi, and welcome to the first part in this mass review of all of the Fnaf games that I've played. This video and this entire project has been a huge undertaking, and if you have followed me for any amount of time on Twitch, you will know that this video has been a very long time coming. I've been talking about this video on and off for a very long time, and the first part is finally out, and I hope that you guys really enjoyed and would want to watch the next one whenever that releases. But yeah, without any further ado, please enjoy what I have for you. I love FNAF. Or at least I did. And I want to fully deconstruct my thoughts and feelings on these games in this video. I think about them all the time, and every time I do, I come away from it with a sour taste in my mouth. And since we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the franchise, or that's what I would want to say if it wasn't the 25th of November when I'm recording this, because, oh my god! This video has taken a long time to write. I thought I'd do my due diligence as a fan and talk about this game series that has defined my taste in horror and games for basically half my life by now. This isn't a review. I mean, it is, but it also isn't. I'm not trying to say anything is like objective fact or anything. This is way more of an opinion piece. So calling it a review or like a full-on retrospective might be a little bit nice. But for all it is, it's a disillusioned fan trying to come to terms with a series he once loved. In this video, I'll discuss each of these games, what I like, what I dislike, their relevance in the current FNAF landscape, and in the end, I will sum up the downward spiral I've observed through the years. God, FNAF 1. I've already talked about this game at length before on this channel. Don't watch that video, by the way. It's outdated and I don't agree with a lot of what I had to say anymore. Why? Because I'm beyond conflicted on FNAF 1. In many respects, FNAF 1 is the perfect FNAF game, and the cultural zeitgeist that developed makes complete sense, as the indie horror landscape back then was plagued with walking simulators after Slender clones. Oh yeah, FNAF 1 is Slenderman era. You feel old yet? FNAF 1 was a much needed change of pace back then. A lot of people have a lot of nostalgia around this game because they came into the series either as the game released or as FNAF 2 released, but I don't. I have zero nostalgia for FNAF 1 in the same way because I wasn't part of the community at that point. I came in late 2014, like a month or two after FNAF 2 had released, so my nostalgia of FNAF 1 is basically just the Markiplier Let's Play. That's not to say that people who do have nostalgia can't see the game as it truly is, because I genuinely don't believe that's true. FNAF 1 is the FNAF game that I have played the most. It is my go-to, my bread and butter, and by far the most iconic, but I struggle to see it as that perfect masterpiece that I once did, knowing what came afterwards. My last video about FNAF 1 released before Security Breach dropped, and trust me, we will be talking about Security Breach again later, so I'll keep the segment brief. After Security Breach dropped, my whole outlook on the franchise changed. I started noticing what had led us to this point. I started seeing the cracks behind the fur of Freddy's dead smile, and it kind of got me thinking more critically about the series as a whole, and especially FNAF 1. When you manage to fully immerse yourself into FNAF 1, it is still one of the best to have ever released. The impact is earned, and the mystery it introduced is still relevant to this day. Well, one of them at least. Ain't nobody giving a shit about the bite of 87 anymore.
Ray.
Yeah.
What's the name of that nightclub of yours again?
You talking about?
Bite of 87.
Yeah, the
Bite of 87.
That's it. Boy, I sure like to see that place and you get it all up and running and pretty looking.
Yeah, me too, Ray.
Me too. I like to see that rolling too.
Yeah, I tell you what though, Radio, you should have been by there last night. Should have had yourself some big fun.
What you talking about that last night?
Just like I said last night.
Golden Freddy.
Up in there and nearly blew the roof off the place.
Ray, who that?
Golden Freddy.
Louis?
Fred Bear. Golden
That's
Freddy.
what I call him. I know him personally. Whenever he come by my spot, I call him.
Golden
He
Freddy.
come by whenever he in town.
Hey, ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit, man.
You always trying to say something at the wrong time.
Finish and do whatever you got to do.
Go on sleep. Let us
Man,
have our
going
fun.
to sleep. Go ahead there, Ray. Finish telling us about that section.
Ray. Tell me some more.
Go ahead, Ray.
Continue, Ray.
As I was saying.
Beyond that, the gameplay concept is so simple yet effective, and the way the game uses sound and visuals to create a heavy atmosphere is still a masterclass to this day. Even though FNAF 1 might be that popular anymore, especially not in the theorist sector, the impact FNAF 1 has had on the fan game scene cannot be understated. Now, I won't claim myself as some guru of knowledge on FNAF fan games. I only know about the really big ones, as talked about in videos made by people such as Yeah, Pastra, and Minaxa. So I know a little of the fan game scene, but I'm not an expert by any means. But still, the most famous fan game series of times past, and to a lesser extent present, are based upon the gameplay of FNAF 1. The most notable of these probably being Five Nights at Candy's by Emil Mako and One Night at Flumty's made by a fucking creep. And beyond just FNAF fan games that borrow gameplay ideas and themes from FNAF 1, there is also the fact that this FNAF 1 Freddy is the face of the franchise. It's the Freddy used in all promotional material. It is the Freddy used in the movie. It's the Freddy that pops into your head when you think about the franchise. It's not Toy Freddy, Funtime Freddy, and certainly not Molten Freddy. This Freddy design is still to this day the most iconic Freddy to ever appear. So yeah, my memories of FNAF 1 are positive, and the overall staying power of many aspects of the game introduced can still be felt today, unlike other games in the series that comparatively have gotten lost in the shuffle. This whole section has been very focused on the community aspect and stuff, so like, if you want my opinion on the gameplay, I suppose you can go and watch my old FNAF 1 video. While, as I said, I disagree with a lot of it, I at least still agree with the overall points I made about the gameplay. However, FNAF 2. Oh boy, FNAF 2. I can't understate how big a deal FNAF 2 was. Okay, let's start by seeing how old I was when I became a FNAF. Let me do some math real quick. Seems like I was 8 years old! Fuck! My crisis of realizing how long the series has tormented me aside, let's start with some history. Nope, not tackling that one! FNAF 2 came out swinging in a way FNAF 1 didn't. Because now that Scott actually had an audience and a fan base, it was time to build hype. And Scott's favorite way to get the fan base hype as shit in the early days was through the practice of teaser images. He released just a few, and they all showed just barely enough to keep people interested, until the trailer itself dropped. And this shit went insane. If I'm being honest, FNAF 2's trailer might be my favorite trailer to this day, and back then, it must have been unreal to see as a new fan. You see the wizards, the sheer amount of rooms, the no doors, and then it hits you. You weren't ready. And oh boy, were people not ready. I will refrain from discussing the gameplay for a bit longer, because the way the community exploded at this point in time was quite literally unprecedented for the time. First and foremost, the Theors community properly got their feet wet with the sheer amount of mystery and leads that was all over the place of FNAF 2. Who's the purple guy? Who's the shadow animatronics? Why is the phone guy not dead? Is this game a prequel? What's this puppet thing? The new Chica's hot as shit.
She's such a bad bitch, though.
Were just a few of the things that were running through the community's heads. To say the community was overwhelmed is a goddamn understatement. 11 new animatronics were introduced, proper story elements were introduced, brand new gameplay.
About Five Nights at Freddy's 2, how did you get the idea for, changing the mechanics up a little bit? So the masks and the vents, watching the puppet.
There wasn't a really in-depth planning phase. For like the overall feel of the games, like a lot of these were, I just kind of knew what they were supposed to be, or just kind of felt the way that the series should progress. Like I knew that Part 2 should be chaotic. Part 2 should be, a lot more chaotic than the first one. It should be just crazy. It should be overwhelming panic.
The poop is still there. So many fucking Easter eggs. The death minigames were introduced in this game as well, and they are still relevant today. They were a staple of FNAF storytelling and became a reoccurring visual theme for story sections going forward. Like, FNAF 2 has got to be the most important of the original FNAF games. And that's so fucking sad, because the game fucking sucks! Yup, I said it, the game is fucking terrible. Completely disconnected from all of the actual cool shit we have presented in FNAF 2, we have the gameplay itself, which is fucking undercooked and rushed. I almost can't believe that people were just okay with letting it slide back in the day. Let's break it down real quick. No, in fact, let's speedrun breaking down FNAF 2's gameplay. So there's 11 new animatronics. 3 of you need mechanics, but 1 only appears on night 6 and 7, so who gives a shit? The other 2 just need a flash and a whine. The last 8 are all dealt with by throwing on the funny Freddy head no matter where they come from into your office, making all 3 openings in your office effectively identical, and fuck the no doors thing, because this singular thing acts as a universal door barring the wild cards. Oh, and see all these cameras? Forget about them! Only this one fucking matters! What time was that? Pretty good, but I could probably do better. So, my point with that whole spiel was to illustrate how shallow the gameplay of FNAF 2 really is. It shows where the focus of FNAF 2 was, and it was certainly not on the gameplay whatsoever. In fact, the gameplay feels like so much of an afterthought, it puts me into a flow state when I play it. My brain shuts off, and I just do, as Phone Guy yaps in the background. Not that I'm able to pay attention to whatever the fuck he says with this god-awful soundscape going off in the background. FNAF 2 was this close to being the perfect FNAF game. This fucking close! It has everything it needs, except good gameplay. The main meat and potatoes of this game are fucking... Again, it's not all bad. The story presented in FNAF 2 is interesting as shit. The world building really goes a long way into establishing a more coherent storyline.
Oh, how ironic that is!
But honestly, the cliffhanger with the yellow suit plot line and the first physical appearance of the main villain of the franchise, along with the mystique of the Easter egg characters such as the Shadows and JJ, makes FNAF 2 an undoubtedly iconic entry in the FNAF series, no matter how lackluster the main gameplay part of this horror game is. And people still get butthurt if you call the game bad, so if this applies to you or any of you watching, strap yourselves in, cause I can guarantee I will piss you off again. Now that a proper community and interest had been established, everyone waited with bated breath for what we thought was the final FNAF game we'd ever receive. To say the community was beyond fucking hype for this game would be the understatement of the century. As Markiplier said,
"This might be the most hyped game in the history of gaming."
People couldn't fucking wait for this game, and Scott would again only make the wait more unbearable with all of these teasers leading up to the release, and when the game finally did release, the reception was lukewarm at best. Yeah, people didn't really fuck with Fnaf 3 back then. Hell, even now it's not the most fondly remembered, and that's very funny to me. Wanna know why? Because, and get so close right now, the gameplay! Yup! People in the peak time where fans hadn't played these games complained about the gameplay and called it bad. It's not that the opinion in itself is invalid, I just find it oh so funny considering FNAF 2's reception. I'll get more into the gameplay later, don't you worry, but for now, I want to talk about the other aspects of the game. FNAF 3 is a fucking treasure trove of lore. Not only do we have not just one, but two sets of lore minigames, two fucking phone guys, and the Springlock suits were introduced here as well, one of them being Golden Freddy's counterpart, and whoa, hold on a fucking second, because I'm getting a little ahead of myself. All that other shit I mentioned, yeah, that's cool and all, but none of it, and I do mean none of it, even comes close to Springtrap. This guy is fucking awesome. People call FNAF 3 a shit game, sure, but I have never heard anyone say Springtrap isn't the coolest fuck character in design. A character that's both over and underused, believe me, you'll see what I mean as we move forward, but here in FNAF 3, he alone made the game iconic. Springtrap's design is fucking perfect. He looks appropriately menacing most of the time. He's the all-time master of hide and seek. Seriously, he's a fucking chameleon sometimes. Sure, the jump scare might be a bit underwhelming, but oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he's the fucking purple guy! I don't think you truly understand just how fucking insane this was back in the day if you weren't there to experience it. People lost their fucking minds over this, and even looking back at it now in retrospect, it is still a really cool reveal. In fact, he was so fucking dope, he kind of poisoned the well a bit. What I mean by that is that he has overtly been in every single game in some shape or form ever since this location. Even when he really fucking shouldn't have been. Like, I love Springtrap. I love the purple guy. I think they're cool, but I say this with all sincerity that he, or at least what he turned into, ruined the story of Five Nights at Freddy's. And that makes me so sad, because now, whenever I look at this face, I get reminded of this one, and the existence alone of that makes it impossible for me to look at Springtrap the same way I used to. With that rant over and done with, I think it's high time to move on to talking about the gameplay. And I really fucking love it. I think FNAF 3 is great from a gameplay perspective. It's not perfect, oh, not even close, but I love how unique it is. Well, how unique it was. Nowadays, that the fan game community has made every conceivable FNAF-style gameplay loop under the sun, and the main series having moved on to large-scale 3D games, FNAF 3 starts looking less unique, but oh well. So one thing I want to get out of the way immediately is the apparent mass understanding of the hallucination statement from Phone Dude on Night 1. These are not hallucinations. They aren't what Phone Dude was referring to. They break the ventilation, sure, but they don't spawn due to the ventilation being broken. What the hallucinations actually are is the multiple Springtrap phenomenon, which a surprising amount of people think is a glitch. I mean, I get how people misunderstood it because it lingers slightly after the beeping lights are gone, but no, it's a real feature meant to throw you off so Springtrap can zoom to your office in no time flat. That's another thing that happens when the ventilation is broken. Springtrap enters his aggressive mode where he moves a lot faster. And he's already fast as shit, so fuck. Now that I've gotten through that tangent, let's actually get into the proper meal here. Not only is FNAF 3 the most complicated game we've discussed so far, I mean, Door Simulator and Undercover Furry Simulator isn't saying much, but oh well. FNAF 1 and 2 are reaction-based games, and by that, I mean you wait and react to whatever happens to you. FNAF 3 changes it up by being a tug-of-war game instead. The very last thing you could ever want is Springtrap making it to your office, so the gameplay revolves around tracking him and making sure he doesn't get to you by using the audio lure system, which uses the sound effect of the most loved character the series has ever spawned. If that was it, it would be about as deep as FNAF 2 and would become a deeply boring and incredibly easy experience. But it also happens to be the way Scott added depth that rubbed the community the wrong way, introducing the Diarrhea Crew. Okay, I'll be frank, these character designs are straight hot garbage. Like, they're seriously an insult to Springtrap's design. I suppose the way some of them get you, mainly Diarrhea Foxy, can be startling. But mostly they aren't scary, and depending on how you play, you won't even end up seeing most of them in the first place. They feel undercooked and annoying, and to some extent unnecessary, but like, I can't really see how the game would work without them either. It's a necessary evil due to how the game is fundamentally designed, and to remove them would require a complete overhaul of the game's mechanics. The reboot system is also hit or miss, honestly, but to a lesser extent than the Phantoms in my opinion. These three systems are the vital systems in order to survive the game. The most important one by far being the audio lure, as it is the only way you can control Springtrap. The second most important being the ventilation system, as it makes you hallucinate more Springtraps and makes him move faster, but as long as you know where he is, you can still deal with him with the audio lure. And the least important one by far is the camera system, as you can still track him using the static that moves with him. Now, I might have made it sound like FNAF 3 is very flawed, and that's because... yeah, it is. But personally, I can't help but love it. And yes, that is absolutely because of nostalgia. This was the time I became a bona fide FNAF fan, and some of my earliest FNAFer memories, besides watching Markiplier's Let's Play, is playing the old mobile port of FNAF 3 with a friend. I love it. I really, really do. But it is a goddamn mess, and I don't blame people for not liking it. One thing that still hasn't been outdone, however, are the minigames. I don't know what the fuck I pronounced it like. The mimic! Yeah, everybody loves these. If there was one thing no one had a problem with back in the day, it was the story and the way it was told. These two sets of minigames tell two different but equally important stories. The in-between night minigames tell the story of what happened decades before the game begins, or maybe only 15 years, depending on what theories you subscribe to, but as I said, I'm not getting into the theory business here, okay, I'm sorry. Let's just move on. And as the huge reveal of Springtrap being the man behind the slaughter, the other minigames, on top of being a goddamn side quest some of the time, tell this beautiful but kind of told in wingding story about how the puppet slowly sets every restless soul free through the happiest day. It's just masterfully done, and in my opinion, this is still to this day the best a FNAF story has ever been told to date. Okay, how long have we been talking about FNAF 3 for? Oh, holy shit, yeah, we have to move on! And move on we will in the next episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed what I had for you today. As I said, this is the biggest project I've ever undertaken. This is far bigger than my FNAF 1 video, and that video burnt me out so much I barely made any more content following it. I really hope that doesn't happen again. If you would be so kind, I would really appreciate if you went ahead and watched the shorts that will come out following this video, as they go over stuff I didn't have time to talk about in this video and the rest of the videos going forward due to pacing reasons. But yeah, without any further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you whenever my next video comes out.